everyone. I'm here with the amazing Jo Child to speak about her incredible work with the Support Local Brighton initiative. Jo, can you tell us a little bit about what you've been up to?
Hi, I'm Jo. I'll be here to talk about an initiative I set up called Support Local Brighton, helping retailers reach their consumers through lockdown.
What instigated the idea to create a Facebook page and eventually a site to support local businesses during COVID?
Well, it centres around the big issue of toilet roll.
That's so interesting.
It all began with toilet roll.
Yeah.
We were I was quite surprised when I was hearing people saying they couldn't find any. And it seemed that everyone was going to the big supermarkets to look for it and taking pictures and putting it on social media, like all the shelves are empty. And I thought, why is no one trying the sort of small shops? Because I was going to the small shops and getting everything I needed, and I wasn't having any issues or problems at all. And my husband came home and said the same thing. He said, I can't find toilet roll anywhere. I said, what are you talking about? We just need to go to the corner shop. They've got loads of it. So it kind of crossed my mind that people like convenience. So they go and buy everything in one place. And because of that, they've forgotten about everything being pretty much available on their doorsteps, but albeit in separate local shops. And then we went into full lockdown. And I just thought, how many of these shops would be able to keep providing if more people knew about them and if they had the option to deliver, which a lot of smaller shops weren't doing at that point. So I just started making phone calls. I spoke to a lot of the shops that I know around my way. I'm in Hove, and just made some phone calls and said, have you thought about delivering locally? You know, is that a way to keep your business going? And sort of created this spreadsheet, which I then created this Facebook group just to let people know that, you know, all these local shops are still trying, you can still get everything you need. And then kind of within a week, it kind of just blew up from there. And now we've got nearly 7,000 people in the Facebook group, and we've got about 400 businesses either listed or about to be listed within the next week. So that's how it all kind of went. It was amazing, really.
It's a really good story. It all started with toilet roll. Yeah, that's crazy. So do you ever find at like any point you were just like, I'm doing all of this by myself, or I don't know, overwhelmed? Because it sounds like just a huge
I probably spend, not so much now. I did in the first sort of 5 or 6 weeks. I spent about 3 hours a day speaking to people or writing blogs about people or interviewing them, having this website built and emailing backwards and forwards. But you know what, it's worth it for all the really nice feedback I've had. I've had all these businesses saying lifeline. The word lifeline keeps coming up.
Oh my God.
Just saying, you know, we didn't know what we were going to do with our shop. We had no idea. We thought, that's it, we're closed. And then this has just let people know about ours. And I've spoken to a few businesses that have said all of their customers have come through the Facebook group, like all of them.
Wow.
Which is, so it's just, it almost makes me feel like I don't want the world to go back to normal. You know, I think this real community spirit has been such a joy to be a part of.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I think can we keep steering away from Amazon and the big supermarkets? Is that going to be a possibility? Which would be just so exciting if we thought that we can circumnavigate the big people and keep supporting all our local businesses who work so incredibly hard.
Yeah.
So it is a lot of work, but I guess it's a lot of fun, so it doesn't really feel like work as such.
So do you have any particular interesting or heartwarming stories that have come from the site?
Well, for a start, what I just said a second ago, you know, people that have said they simply didn't know how they were going to reach a new audience.
Yes.
You know, just closing up shop, and a lot of independent retailers, they're used to having a shop front, but they're not used to having a digital shop front. And that takes time to build. So having that bridge created for them by being able to just go on Facebook and just, it's a matter of sending out a post to 7,000 people, and then they're all finding their way and you see different businesses helping each other as well, which is the best thing. Like, oh, hey, do you need some help with like setting up a payment process? Or everyone's in the same boat. And I think that is the most heartwarming thing, is that seeing how consumers and retailers have actually come together, and they're just having these gorgeous conversations. And there's been birthdays, people who have had the most amazing lockdown birthdays because they've had access to birthday cakes and gifts and all these things that they didn't think they were going to get, and having bespoke cakes made for them as well, which has been lovely. So I guess that's one, but yeah, I'll think more on that.
What I was really impressed with, and I'm sure a lot of people were wondering how you pulled this off, like, it was so well executed, from building the Google Sheet to then building a really simple, clear website. How did you kind of think, like, okay, this is the most important information, got to keep it really simple? Like, what, you know what I mean? The building of it was really well done.
Thank you. I mean, I can't take the credit for the first website. The first website, Brighton Quarantine, was created by a guy called Chris, who was in the group, and he saw the information and he put the website together, which was fantastic. He already works full time, so he really did this just as a weekend project, which was really nice. Yeah. And he didn't really have any thoughts of continuing with it, because I've spoken to him about should I continue, but he's stepped down now. But we have copied the formula, so the new website is called Support Local Brighton.
Yeah.
So I'm working with a company in Manchester now that are building on the same formula, with the hope that we can do the same Support Local thing in Manchester too. So
wow.
Yeah, so thank you. I appreciate your nice comments, but I can't take the credit for the website.
What businesses did you never expect to join in on it, but then were really excited, and then you saw maybe that had some success?
We've got everything from adult toys to to home maintenance and DIY at a distance. You know, it's I'm not surprised easily, I suppose. So I haven't really found anything that surprised me as such.
Obviously, businesses have had to completely transform maybe their identity. And like you said, there wasn't any kind of bridge, because maybe they didn't even have a website, maybe not even a Facebook page. How did you communicate to businesses that were really nervous about transitioning online? You know, this is something you want to be a part of, and it's not as scary as it seems. And did you ever have to kind of help people in that, like in an emotional, supportive kind of way, or did people kind of just figure it out and adapt?
Yeah, I found a lot of people were nervous about dealing with e-commerce. So, you know, especially a lot of shop fronts that are just, you know, they just simply deal with having a cash till and that's it. And they don't really they don't even have a website. So selling anything online and being able to say to them, you can still make that possible via the group on social media, because a lot of these companies, they're not using websites. They're just putting up a phone number, and they have their own system, and you can just give them a call, and then you can make your payment. If you like, for example, some businesses still aren't doing delivery, but they're leaving things for collection, so you can go and make contactless payments. So it's just it's coming up with a way that works for each individual business. And just reassuring them that actually you don't have to have a website, you don't have to have e-commerce, you can just stick up a phone number. So there's one called Proper Pub Grub Company, which have just been marvelous. I'm quite fussy about my food, and if I go out for a roast dinner, I always find them a little bit disappointing. I think there's never enough gravy and the potatoes aren't crispy enough. And I have to say, these guys are amazing, and they don't do anything with a website. They simply give you a WhatsApp number, and they do everything via WhatsApp. Wow. Which is quite clever if you think about it, because then they have a WhatsApp group that they can send their promotions out to. So, you know, it's just about thinking outside of the box, getting in touch with businesses. I've got all of their email addresses. I send out a weekly update every Wednesday, just with a little letter from me, ask how they're going, ask for feedback. And they can reach out and ask other businesses as well. So not just me, but they can speak with each other. So yeah, I think we've all been forced into this boat, and it's like, well, this boat will sink unless we work together, right? So we're
Yeah.
all in exactly the same position, and I think so much good will come from this. So much good. I think it's just got us all thinking differently. It's got us all thinking about putting our personal differences aside, and all the petty stuff and all the politics and everything else. It's kind of when something as big as this happens, you realize that none of that matters
Yeah.
at all, and it's just about how do we survive, how do we stay happy, and how do we stay healthy, and you
Yeah.
do all that by supporting each other. So
Yeah. I guess, which ways have you seen people be really innovative or kind of do things that you're like, that's creative? I never would have expected that.
okay, a good example is there's a shoe shop called Clodhoppers,
Mhm.
and they've developed some software so that they can do virtual shoe fitting for kids,
What?
which is just really amazing. So they can they've been in the business for 30 years, so it's they're quite keen to say it's not a gimmick, it's not something that is going to damage your children's feet or get the fittings wrong. They've really thought about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it means that they can keep going. They can make sure that the kids of Brighton still wear super cool shoes.
Do you think that people are going to continue using the site once lockdown is lifted?
I hope so. I hope I can push it in their faces enough that they'll want to continue with it.
Yeah.
And for example, in the next week, we're hoping to launch a club,
Mm.
which will you can sign up to the club. It'll be £5 a month, and most of the proceeds will go to Rise. I'm a fundraiser and Ask Me Ambassador for the domestic abuse charity Rise.
Wow.
And since lockdown, I haven't been able to do any fundraising events. So I've been racking my brain, like, how can I keep raising funds for this charity? So we're going to do it through this membership club, and it will mean that members will be sent a list of discount codes every month, and they'll be sent a newsletter, and it will be lots of free advertising for the businesses that participate with the codes, because we can include the blog interviews in there, fresh articles, promotions, offers, and just really help them get the word out. And I think the way to keep people to keep doing this is to keep everything as centralized as possible. So having the directory, having one base where people can go for everything, because essentially when we go back to normal, people are going to find that they're time restricted again. It's very easy to shop local at the moment because we have so much time. So we can make an order at the butcher's. We can look around for a fancy cake from this place, and we can get our fruit and veg from somewhere else. But when we all go back to work, it's going to be so tempting just to go to the supermarket and do everything in one hit. So I think we'd like to develop this in a way that we can have some sort of centralized delivery system, so that you can order from all of these local places. Obviously, I'm thinking in the future here. I'm not sure how this will work, but it's something that I'd really like to make happen, which is we can have a delivery system that can collect everything for you. So you can still shop local and have it all delivered, and you're not, so I think it is possible, and I think big change comes from, it doesn't come from the government telling you what to do or big businesses telling you what to do. It comes from society peer pressure. So I think if society behaviour changes in the same way that people don't buy plastic anymore, that came from the pressure of your peers and talking to community, and I think shopping local will be the same. Amazon's almost becoming a bit of a taboo word now. Don't like to admit they shop there. So I think if we can continue down that vein, and just keep that good feeling going as well. Keep telling the good stories, the happy stories, and remind people that every time you buy from a local jeweler, they do a little happy jig. And you're responsible for that. So it's about keeping the good feelings going, keeping price competitive, and staying convenient.
How do you think businesses can take part in building a kinder society post-lockdown?
What's happening at the moment is I had a delivery this morning and there was a handwritten note on the bag on the side. So keep that going. Get to know your customers by name. Ask them what they want. It's very easy if you make a really great product to say, look at this, look at what we do, isn't this brilliant? But which is all great, but just spend a little bit more time going, okay, what are we missing? What would you like to see? What can we do for you? How can we make your life better? And just keep those lines of communication going. I think it's really simple. I think customer service is above and beyond the most important thing.
Yeah.
Above everything. It doesn't matter how great your product is. If somebody walks in your shop and you're not hospitable to them, then they may leave again straight away. I think it's all about a friendly face, getting to know your people, and moving with the times, noticing the changes and just adapting and going with it. And I think this has been a really fantastic lesson actually for retail. They're going to come away with having learnt an awful lot from this, a lot of resilience. I think it's important to keep remembering your neighbours too. Don't become a stranger again. Every Thursday night at 8 o'clock, we're all out clapping for the NHS and we're smiling at our neighbours for the first time. We didn't even know what their faces looked like before, so keep that going. Yeah.